Hello everyone, I'm Mr. South and this is full lesson in 10 PE. This is one of our videos on the 4 habits that should underpin every lesson if you want to teach outstanding lessons consistently. This video is on creating the optimal classroom atmosphere. So what do I mean by classroom atmosphere, sometimes known as classroom climate? I'll put a definition there, but the main things that I would take out of it is it's what you do to ensure your students are motivated and confident, and the atmosphere in your classroom will then facilitate teaching and learning. Now, I don't want to bore you too much with the theory behind this, but with our classroom atmosphere, there's 2 ends of the spectrum. We can go task-oriented or ego-oriented. Now, as PE teachers, we want our classroom atmosphere to be task-oriented because this puts more of an emphasis on the effort the students are putting in, the process of improvement and developing the whole child. Now, what's a little bit contradictory is that I would use performance-based outcomes in my lesson objectives, which is more ego-oriented, you could argue, but we can still make this work, and this is how. So alongside our lesson outcomes, which are going to change every lesson, I also have a criteria that measures effort and attitude that will stay the same through the whole of Key Stage 3, so students really get used to this criteria. The idea is that as long as a student is green on this criteria, then you are more than happy with what they're doing in lessons, regardless of what learning outcome they might be hitting. So the criteria would look something like this and look at things like effort, teamwork, sportsmanship, whether the students are answering questions and are following instructions. So key indicators that your students are trying their best, basically. You can change that criteria to suit your school's values and what you're looking for, maybe the values in your particular department. Green, even lighter green, is also good. The students are showing the levels of effort that you want. When we get to yellow, then improvements need to be made. Maybe students aren't putting in full effort all the time, or maybe not showing the levels of teamwork and sportsmanship that you desire. And then red is really a point where the student must improve, and then you're probably going to want to maybe contact home or put in further consequences if the student reaches this level. So how I get students to engage with this criteria is link it in with my progress tracker. Now there's a separate video on how I track progress, how I use this particular tracker, but briefly, the student is placed on there in relation to the learning outcomes, so bronze, silver and gold, but also within this tracker, the most important thing is that each student has a green sticker that shows me they are putting in the maximum effort they can. In which case, it doesn't matter if they're bronze, maybe not even reaching bronze, but if they're putting in the maximum effort they can or deemed to be, then I am more than happy with them. Their parents' evening is going to be good. Their report card's going to look good. This is the main thing. Now, if that student maybe had a lesson or two where they dipped below expectation, then that sticker, yellow sticker, goes on top of the green one, and the student now sees that they need to improve. And if that student then goes on to make the adjustments that you've suggested, they go back to green. So these stickers can regularly be updated. And that can become part of your behaviour management system as well. So what I do is on the whiteboard, I'll have a warning and then whatever your consequences may be. So if I had talks when I'm talking, that would be a warning. And then if he was to make a bad decision again during that lesson, then we can start looking at consequences. Now that could be related to changing the colour on the tracker, or it could be related to your own school's behaviour management system. So that progress tracker goes some of the way to creating this task-oriented atmosphere that we want. So here's a few more things that you can do. So communicate what you value the most as a teacher regularly. Now, that is me at the start of every lesson talking about the importance of the colour sticker and not necessarily where the students are in relation to the outcomes. Of course, we want students to improve and get to as high a learning outcome as possible and reach for that gold level, but it might be out of the realms of some students' physical ability, in which case, as long as students are green, we are more than happy. And feedback relating to effort, attitude, and teamwork during the lesson is also going to help create that atmosphere. Some great examples, like when you're doing an athletics and you're doing a long distance race, and you might have your real elite athlete that finishes the race really quickly. Of course, we praise that, but we also put a huge emphasis on the student that might be low ability but manages to finish the whole race without walking. You can see he's put in absolutely everything to do that, even though it took him 15 minutes. And we really emphasize the effort that's gone in there, and all students learn to celebrate that. We reward effort and attitude regularly. Now, I do that. I've shown you how I do that with my progress tracker. Students are involved in that. They always see where they are in relation to that criteria. You will have your own way of tracking progress, but make sure this is becomes routine in your lessons. Students know where they're at. We want to play down social comparisons, which is more of an ego-oriented approach. And this is really important. Quash any negativity towards students in the class with less experience. Now, I use this term all the time, less experienced students. Now, a great example for any teacher that's taught football will know the problems you have with your typical footballer that may well have a little level of arrogance and maybe get a bit frustrated with students that are struggling to pass on the ball in the game at the end. As soon as you see anything like that, pounce on it and remind students that not everyone's been playing football since the age of 4. Some people are very new to the game, and rather than referring to students as low ability, I always use the term less experienced. And students start to use this as the lesson schemes of work go on, that students are less experienced. They realise that this is a good term to use that doesn't hurt anybody's feelings. Some people have more experience in sport than others. And then, like I say, if there is any negativity, any frustration from particular students in your class, that's when we really remind them of the values in your lesson, of the criteria relating to effort and attitude, and that is not acceptable. That is not teamwork, that is not sportsmanship, and we reinsert those values into the students. So there's lots you can do, and it does work. It means you can keep your outcome related objectives and still have students focused on effort and attitude. Hopefully this helped. This is another habit that we've covered that should become routine in all lessons. Check out the videos below, which will have the other habits that underpin our videos, our lesson plan videos, where we try to help you plan outstanding lessons, and our videos won't last longer than 10 minutes. So we won't bore you too much like I'm doing now. So thanks, guys. Hopefully see you again on another video.